This is Joe Leibner with Mod 12, Tort Liability. Tort liability is an individual seeking liable for the consequences of their own conduct or lack of conduct when such actions result in injuries to others. There are two types of torts that we're going to be discussing. Intentional, that's where there is intent to harm someone. It's also important to note that the harm that comes about doesn't have to be the intended harm, just a harm as a result of the action that was intended to do damage. Also, we'll be looking at negligent. That is a preventable injury that occurs without intent due to a lack of facilitation that should have taken place by the educator. Case number one that will display this, Mitchell versus Cedar Rapids Community School District. On the left here, we have the outline of the case. There was a SPED student sexually assaulted by another student in after-hours care. The two students left school without permission. One was assaulted by another student, a former student. Attendance was accurate and a call home would have come later that evening, but the circumstances did not allow for that to take place prior to the assault. The school was sued for negligence for breaching duty of reasonable care, and the court ruled that the school was 70% at fault, with the person doing the actual assault only being 30% at fault. In our school, students that leave without permission are turned over to the SRO. We do have a school resource officer on call in the building every day that can make house calls, that can investigate these things, drive around the neighborhood, look for students that have come up missing throughout the day. Parents are notified immediately when students are identified as skipping. If attendance is taken and a student is not there that was there prior to that, and their whereabouts cannot be ascertained, the parent is notified before the end of the hour. Proactively discussing a system of excusing students from class in a way that all educators are informed prior to class which students will be absent, or having a clear indication of that in the electronic system, would be hugely available or hugely helpful to the educators as they continue to monitor and track student attendance. Having a set of ethics will help to ensure unexcused absences are always dealt with in a way that would protect the student at all cost. Case number two, Johnson Johnson versus School District of Millard. The case is as follows. A first grade student was injured during music class. The injury was a cut above the eye all the way down to the bone as a result of the students playing London Bridge. The student asked for help and for the game to stop 3 different times before the injury. The teacher explained the game and had the students practice at one time, but this was the students' first time on their own independently doing the game. The teacher's back were to the students while she was writing on the chalkboard. The cut required 50 stitches, and the court found that the teacher was negligent in her supervision duties. In our school district, students must be taught and practiced under direct supervision. That goes on beyond just being taught. They also have to show proficiency before something of a physical nature is turned over to them in its totality. And professional ethics that required direct supervision of physical activities would prevent this tort. So anytime there is a activity that is taking place, a professional ethics code that requires direct supervision by the instructor and or another educator would certainly see this minimized. Case 3, this is Brackett versus Millard School District. There was a 9th grade student that was struck by a golf club during PE class. The student died 2 days later as a result of the injury. Golf classes were being held inside because of weather. There were safety instructions given the day prior, but the student missed those safety instructions. The student was not required to undergo any sort of safety training prior to the use of the class. The students were hitting plastic balls off of mats, and the student snuck up behind another student or unknowingly got behind another student and was struck in the head. In our school, the cameras would be consulted to observe the incident and see everything that took place. The teacher would likely be put on leave. From a proactive standpoint, a student should pass a written safety test prior to participation. We do this in our science classes. Before any labs, they have to pass a written safety test. Having designated areas for participating and observing would help eliminate this. That way it would keep students clear of the danger. And professional ethics would be beneficial in this case by providing standardized procedure for safety protocol. Case number 4, NM versus Anchorage School District. NM is a child that fell and was running toward mom and dad, or the mom, as soon as school was let out, tripped on school ground and fell so that some pine needle stump debris penetrated the eye socket of the student and into the front lobe of the brain. The student had long-term effects, including narcolepsy, an inability to remember things from a short attention standpoint, and a desire to eat constantly without any regulation for appetite. The family was awarded $4.5 million. In our school, cameras would be consulted again as to observe the incident. There would probably be some sort of disciplinary action over who the person was in charge of keeping the grounds straight and clean. I can't imagine that would be an acceptable debris amount if it's such that it could cause that type of problem. Proactively, ground should always be clear of dangers and potential tripping hazards. We deal with this on a regular basis in schools and public areas, and professional ethics would be beneficial in this case by providing a safe environment for the students. Case number 5 is Polly versus the Anchorage School District. A mother picked up her child early for Christmas break. The father was the one that had custody of the child as they were separated. The father was contacted when the mother arrived to pick up the child. She did have authorization to have the child during Christmas break. There was a police officer present with the mother to verify that she had the right to take the child with her. After Christmas, the mother refused to turn over the child and kept him all the way till April. So the father sued the school district for the principal allowing the child to leave. The principal consulted the legal documents pertaining to custody, contacted the father, and consulted the police before allowing the child to leave. All of those things were done. The situation was handled with integrity and wisdom. The principal did an absolutely excellent job in this regard and went so far as to evaluate the court documentation that they had at the school that the mother brought with her, and going all the way to verbally contacting the dad in this case. Proactively, having a clear documentation for custody of students would help to alleviate this. I know we try to do that, but sometimes things happen and you can't always get that done. And professional ethics would be beneficial in this case by doing exactly as the principal did. The principal in this particular case handled the situation with integrity and did an absolutely excellent job, and ultimately the courts found in the favor of the school district. So thank you for listening to this. Apologize again for my voice, still not feeling well. These are my references for these slides, and have a good afternoon and a nice break. Thank you.